What is going on, my fellow Omi homies? It's Foster, and I'm back at it again with another VV Andy Comey video. Guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you are watching this video now and you are not subscribed, please consider doing so down below. It is the only financial advice that I will ever give to you on this channel. With that being said, if the title of the video doesn't already make it abundantly clear, today was a disaster. I don't often openly criticize or express concerns about the project, not because that I don't have them, but generally there is a reasonable or logical excuse in my mind, and I just don't feel the need to perpetuate the story that goes around for each of those issues. I don't have that today. And I think it's important for you guys to understand that while I am still extremely bullish on both the VeVe app and the Omi token, it is okay to have days like today and feel frustrated and express your frustration. But I think the important thing to remember is to express your concerns, but look for ways to improve based on that information. And that's part of the reason that I'm making this video today. I didn't immediately jump onto the social media and blast the team, although they probably deserved it for what happened today. I took some time. I waited to see what the response was going to be from them. I spoke to some members in the community. I even reached out to the team directly to speak with them about the concern. And now that I've had the opportunity to take some time to formulate my thoughts and gauge all of the scenario, I can come and make this video to you with the clear understanding of I can still be very passionate and bullish about the project and still be really upset and not pleased with what happened today. For those of you that don't know what happened today, it was the first ever Disney drop on the VeVe app, and it was The Simpsons. The Simpsons, for me, as I'm sure for a lot of you, hold a lot of nostalgic value. And my wife and I were both very excited to be participating in today's drop. I'll take a brief moment to walk you through my experience, as I imagine it is the same for a lot of you. But for those of you that were fortunate enough to not have to go through it, I think it's an important perspective to keep in mind and take a little bit of extra time to understand why a lot of people may be frustrated today. If it's not obvious already, I was not successful in completing the drop. I did, however, complete the set shortly before coming on to make this video, and I spent $525 to complete the first set that's ever been licensed from Disney on the app. About 5 minutes before the drop itself started, I usually log off the app and then come back on about 2 minutes beforehand. At about 3 minutes to the drop, I started to receive a lot of messages from friends and members of the community who were reaching out saying that they were kicked out of the app and were not able to participate in the drop. I immediately tried to log on to the app and was immediately hit with the notification that the servers were under heavy load and to try again at a later time. I proceeded, along with my wife, to try for almost 25 minutes after the end of the drop before I came to terms with the fact that I was not going to be successful in securing a collectible in this drop. I was fortunate in that one of my friends was able to text me while this was going on and say that he was able to get into the drop and he actually was able to secure a collectible, so he was able to keep me up to date as to what was happening. My initial impressions at the time is that I was very upset that the team did not cancel or postpone the drop with the issues that were taking place, because I could already foresee the concerns that were going to come out from the community about not having a fair and equal chance at the drop. And I, of course, and to be very clear, share this sentiment. With that being said, I do imagine that there is a reason why the team could not pull the plug 2 minutes before the drop starting. Do I know that for fact? I do not, but I imagine that something happening so last minute would have been difficult to deal with in real time. And for what it's worth, I do feel for the team having to deal with that issue. But there's a bigger issue at foot in all of this. And that is, why did we get to this point in the first place? We have known for a while now that the app has been scaling at a very quick rate. And we know that the team by their own account, has been doing their best to play catch up to make the app as smooth as possible for all of the users that are onboarding. I've heard some people in the community express sentiment that they were annoyed that this took place, but were also excited and felt that it was bullish for the project because it meant so many new faces were attempting to secure the drop and all of the publicity that it could gain because of it. For those of you that are not aware and were not here at the time, about 8 months ago, in February, March, and even at the beginning of April, there was a lot of issues with the application where individuals would either not be able to get onto the app because of server load issues, or they would attempt to purchase drops and it would be too buggy and drops would be delayed for minutes, if not hours. For anyone that participated in the Nightwing drop or even the DeLorean drop, you are very familiar with these issues and you understand that it is part of the growing pains of a new and emerging company. With that being said, I do believe that this is something that they should have been able to anticipate given all of the hype in the community surrounding the Disney license. But I also understand that certain measures are out of certain people's control. What I've pulled up on my screen now is the tweet that VeVe put out about an hour and a half after the drop took place. I'm going to read a part of it and then I'm going to give you my opinions. And of course, with all of this, I am always very interested to hear what your opinions are in the comment section down below. VeVe says, "Thank you for your passion. Today's drop sold out quickly, as expected, but it was not without issues. Here is what happened. One of our third-party providers were not scaled properly at drop time, which caused the performance issues. However, the problem has been identified with the provider and we have been assured that it has been resolved. We should see a much smoother experience tomorrow and moving forward." I'm not going to read the rest of the tweet. You can see it here on the screen. Of course, they're thanking everyone for their patience and understanding. I actually thought that this tweet from VeVe was very pointed and very interesting. And while I wasn't happy about what took place in today's drop, I appreciated their candor in expressing what actually took place. For those of you that have been in the project for a while, you're aware that the project often dances around issues and tries to avoid having to direct any responsibility towards any one party, which I think for most companies is the political way of dealing with issues. But today, VeVe didn't pull any punches. They understood how important this drop was to all of us, and I imagine that they were as frustrated about the fact that this happened as many of us in the community are. Before I continue, I want to pause and make it clear that I know a lot of people are going to say, great, Foster is back at it again on his fanboy bandwagon. VeVe Nakomi can do no wrong in his eyes. I'm not going to entertain that today, guys. I'm just letting you know straight up, and I've made it clear already in this video, but I will make it clear again. They dropped the ball on this, regardless of whose responsibility it was. And on a day like today, that stuff just can't happen. I have addressed my concerns with the team directly, and I am now addressing my concerns with each and every one of you. So I want to make that very clear before I continue, because every single time I bring up something, I often hear, I never say anything negative about the project, and that's just simply not true. Continuing on. I very much appreciated that they said specifically what the issue was. They did not say, oh, well, we had some issues in the back end. What a third-party provider that is responsible for assisting them with their server load was not up to par. They had an expectation that they would perform a specific service, which was not completed for them. They have spoken to said provider and made it very clear that this needs to be fixed, and they have now been rest assured that it has been fixed. It's not a good look for VeVe. It's not a good look for Ecomi, and it doesn't look great on Disney either, who have put a lot of trust and faith in the project. So believe me when I say that the team has every single motivation in the world to address this issue as soon as possible. And now I get that something similar, not to nearly the same extent, happened yesterday as well. So it compounds the issue and it does get frustrating. I spent $525 completing the set today. And I'd like to think, whether it's right or not, that I would have been able to secure at least one of the drops today between my wife and my account. And that could have saved me anywhere between $90 to $250. So yes, this is my hard-earned money, and I'm frustrated that it rolled out the way that it did. I also want to take another second to address the people that are saying, well, I know the collectibles were already delivered. They didn't get a chance to pause them in time. We should take all the collectibles back and we should do a redraw for the collectibles. I'll be honest. I was actually on that train like 5 minutes after this happened because I was super upset as well. But then when I started to think about it, the entire premise of a non-fungible token is immutable ownership. So remember that we are now asking the same company that we want to say, you need to be able to let us take our collectibles wherever we want. We are now asking them to take collectibles back from people who didn't necessarily get a chance at a drop and disenfranchise people that did get a drop because they were able to get on. I don't think that that's the appropriate way to handle this situation. I don't know that there is any appropriate way to handle it at this point. It's already happened, but I know that that is not the best way to go about things. The entire point of an NFT is that you own it, and once you own it, it cannot be taken away from you unless you yourself choose to relinquish that ownership. One of the final things that I want to wrap up, and I think that is important to emphasize, and I left it until the end of the video because I think that if you watched this far into the video, you deserve to know it. I reached out to the team about an hour and a half after this happened, and I told them I'm going to be making a video today. It may not be your best look, but can you provide any context or information that may help the community or any of my viewers understand the reasoning that this may have taken place and any other factors that may actually be positive and be able to turn this around and look at the silver lining at the end of the day. I spoke with Dan Carruthers, and he advised me that they had almost 100,000 people actively online attempting to secure the drops. Now, whether or not this number even accounts all of the people that were locked out, I have absolutely no idea, because if you were locked out, it likely wouldn't register your account on the server. So they had 100,000 accounts going for less than 20,000 collectibles. And when I spoke with Dan, I said, 100,000, what does that mean to you guys? And he told me that is the largest number of participants that they have ever had online concurrently participating in a drop at the same time. And he said the number that would normally be online for a collectible drop is about half of what that number is that was trying to secure the first ever Disney drop. We could have a million conversations about whether there's still bots on the app, whether people have multiple devices, or whatever the case may be. The point of the matter is that there were 100,000 people who were interested enough to try and secure this drop. And we don't even know that that includes all of the people that were actively trying that could just simply not get online. You compound this issue with the fact that a server that would normally be fine to handle 50,000 people was not operating at full capacity because it had not been scaled correctly by the third-party provider. And you start to understand why we had so many issues for today's drop. To be clear, I am explaining why the issue likely happened. I am not excusing it from happening. But I think that the fact that we had 100,000 people trying for today's drop when 6 months ago they didn't even have 30,000 people on the app, that is, outside of all of the bad, one of the most bullish things that I have heard about not only VeVe and Ecomi, but of NFTs as an entire space. And my hope is that if they're able to rectify this issue moving forward, that we will continue to see those types of numbers competing for these collectibles and bringing in new faces and interest into the application itself. I am not going to worry and assume that this is not going to be resolved. I am willing to forgive that these things happen, but I am not just going to forget. But I think it is important, and one takeaway that I will have from this moving forward is it's not about making mistakes or getting knocked down. It's about how you learn from those mistakes and get back up again. Are we going to have this conversation again tomorrow? I genuinely believe that we will not. I believe that this issue will be resolved and that we will continue to have successful drops moving forward. With that being said, if there are any issues in the community that need to be addressed, I will be addressing them both formally through the professional channels and personally with each and every one of you. If you want to reach out because you're frustrated and you need someone to vent to, reach out to me on socials. You can follow me at Foster Hilt on Twitter. You can hit me up in the comment section down below and let me know what you're thinking about all this. And I'm curious to hear, good or bad. It really doesn't matter. You guys know where I sit today, all things considered. I look forward to releasing some more researched and factually generated content over the week or so to come. I have a lot of good videos that I think you guys are going to enjoy coming out. So like I said at the beginning of the video, if you're not already, please make sure to subscribe so that you do not miss any of that content that I will be releasing. We're going to get through this one, guys. It sucks. We'll deal with it. We'll continue to grow. And remember, we are still extremely early. I love you guys. Peace.